Hello, everybody. Welcome back. The 90-day no talk experiment. Okay, you guys, I'm back. I was not here last night. Y'all, this keeps happening to me. Okay. Well, not keeps happening. So, yesterday I had a meetup. So, I do a ladies group called Titus 2 Women. For those of you who are interested in Titus 2 Women, you should see for Instagram, you should see something in my bio about an email address for that. If you're interested in joining Titus 2 Women, we are a group of women from all across the world. Now, you've got to understand what the Lord has done here, okay? He took a little girl from nowhere, North Carolina, had me to start a ministry called First Love Ministries with Shakima Wilson, and I have 3 branches that fall under that label. Daughters of Grace is a retired group. That group has been retired now because those ladies started with me when they were in their 60s. And 10 years later, they're in their 70s. So we have retired Daughters of Grace. And we now have Titus 2 Women, which meets every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We meet virtually in a virtual space just like this. All the women, they're women from different countries. There are women from almost all 50 states are represented at any chosen given time. We're not all on here at one time, but depending on who is available. And so we are having it's not our first annual meeting, but this is our first girlfriends getaway. Last year we had a retreat, but we didn't give it a name, right? We were just doing a meetup. We were meeting up to go and fellowship with a friend of ours that we met in the group. And the Lord told us to go and see her. And we did that from all across the country. Everybody flew in to see her. But this year, we're doing something called Girlfriends Getaway. Again, another thing that the Lord has told me to do. So what we're doing is in June, we're heading to Washington, D.C., and we are going to meet up with ladies, again, from all across the country. However, there are several of us women that live here in North Carolina. And we decided a couple weeks ago that we would get together and do an NC meetup. And so those of us who were available, we converged on Durham yesterday. I drove 2 hours plus to get to Durham, picked up a couple friends. They rode up with me. A couple friends met us there. Excuse me. And we did what was called a progressive brunch. So we started off at a place called the Soul Food, and that is right down from North Carolina Central University. And we went there. We wanted to go to Kale's Kitchen, but Kale's Kitchen is one of those pop-ups. You never know when they're going to be open. They just open whenever. You got to follow them on Facebook to find out when they're going to be open. When they're open, they open. When they sell out, they're done. And that was it. So we popped in to Soul Food yesterday. Kale's Kitchen was closed. Then we hopped over. One of the ladies, she lives there in Durham, and she hosted us while we let our food settle, and we sit and we chatted and talked about all the things we wanted to see at the retreat, at the getaway, and how the group has helped them individually, helped all of us, and how they have used stuff we've learned in the group to help other people, which is the purpose. And then we finished up our meet. I think we were there. We got there about 2 o'clock, and we left at 6 because I needed to be back because I needed to teach last night. Well, we left at 6. We had to stop. We had an issue when we stopped trying to get some stuff taken care of. So I didn't get home till like 8:30, almost 8:45. And I wasn't feeling very well. So I was like, you know what? I will do it the next time. And but we ended up at a place called Funnel Me Crazy. And that's a funnel cake establishment that they do all kinds of stuff to your funnel cake. I had peach cobbler funnel cake. I had planned to get the turtle, but they were out of caramel sauce. So I had a few bites. I brought it home for the kids. But it was a good experience. Excuse me. And I share all that to say that that's where I was yesterday. So it was 5 hours of driving. and trying to get back here on time to be available because I taught my morning class, Titus 2 Women. So if you're interested, I said all that to say, if you're interested in joining Titus 2 Women, send me an email, firstloveministriesswilson@gmail.com. I will need a most current updated picture of you, and then I will send you join information and credentials. It is an absolutely fabulous group. We love those ladies. We've all learned so much hanging out together and doing all the things. Hey, y'all. So I am feeling better from what had jumped on me the beginning of last week. But this morning, I'd say probably early AM, I started having this intense pain. And every time I breathe in, it seems like my head is exploding. So I think, yes, ma'am, I'll put it right back up there. I feel like this is a migraine. I don't typically get migraines. It's not something that I struggle with, but that thing is like attacking my whole here, right? I've been prayed over. I've prayed for myself. I laid hands on myself. Alana laid hands. Another lady, friend of mine, laid hands. And that thing has still just been on me all day. I can't bend over. And y'all, those of you who know me know that that is not my life. I have things to do. I cannot be down. I have already moved my bedroom around. We did some moving around in the living room. I'm in a different space tonight than I was last night because I'm trying to get peace in this space. And I just needed to do some things. So, but I'm prayerful to feel better very soon. I mean, it's like one thing after the next, and I am not, this is not for the people. I do not believe in sickness. Jesus did not say that I was supposed to be sick. Healing is the children's bread, and I'm a children, so I'm gonna need that healing to manifest itself real quick. Anywho, we back, and I'm gonna make my way through this in Jesus' name. So, I mean, please don't I'm not telling you that you can't let sickness, sometimes when you're sick, I may not be drinking enough water, Yolanda. Thank you for that. It's a good thought there. I can grab some, but I'm telling you, and I would just breathe in. I had to lay down. I think I laid down till 8:30 this morning. I had to be at church at 9:30, but I didn't have little people to get ready. So I got up, grabbed a quick shower. I already knew what I was going to wear, and I just zippity dipped on out. Sister drove, and it was all good. We only hit one squirrel on the way to church this morning. Praise the Lord for the squirrels. It broke her little heart. She said, Mom, did I really hit the squirrel? Baby, that squirrel, it was just moving slow. Whoopsies, squirrel versus car. So anywho, we had an excellent time. And I did take my blood pressure medicine thinking that might have been what it was. So I'll try to get some water in after I'm done because I can't drink too much before I'm done because then I'll have to go to the bathroom and I'll have time to be stopping. But what I was going to say is sometimes even when you're not feeling well, you need to press through, right? So I had to press my way and I had several jobs and things to do. The kids are always troopers. They hate helping me do the things y'all see. And it looks like, oh, they're having a great time. They hate it every time. But they did help me. And I was like, look, I need 1 solid hour. We would have been done before an hour, but they move at the pace of turtle. So, it took us a whole hour. But we did. I got the floors situated. I swept up some stuff. We got the bed moved because I just needed my room because I have this office situation in here where I have to film. It just feels overwhelmed with YouTube stuff and filming stuff, and I can't deal. But I do have an office out in the front part of the house that if I could make my way out there more often, I would not be stuck in this place. But I'm here because I'm always on my computer. Anyway, we're back tonight. The 90-day no talk experiment. This is day 39. Thank y'all again for your grace. I was really planning to be done by May 29th. That will not happen. And I have got Yolanda. Do me a favor, honey. Would you please send me an email that says, don't forget to film the days you'll be gone. don't forget to pre-film the days you will be gone, because I will be out of town certain days and I will need to pre-film those days because of the wedding. So if I'm able to be on live with you, I will, but there are certain days like my travel days that I have to pre-film, because we're going to be flying from North Carolina to California. So all the way across the country, I will be gone for travel days at minimum. Most of the other days I should be able to film, but I want to just kind of do it ahead. That way we're not behind. So it looks like about the 1st of June, I'll be done right around time I'm done with school, because we do have Girlfriends Getaway, and I'll be posting some stuff for that, because the Lord did tell me that I can open that to additional ladies if you so choose to come and hang out with us in Washington, D.C. It's going to be, I have a couple people that I'm going to be asking to join me, some friends, some spiritual friends, some ministry support people. My brother is going to be with us. My brother Derek is going to be with us. Aunt Vicky is going to be with us. It's just going to be a great time. All the times will be had. Anywho, so we're back. Day 39 is where we are tonight. It is called Not a Drinker Friday Night Lights. Oh, perfect, Miss Rhonda. We would love to have you if you are available to come and hang out with us. It is going to be a Friday night meet and greet, all day activities with an excursion out into the city on Saturday. And then Sunday, we're going to finish up with fellowship, and we're going to have a Sunday brunch send-off. And those who need to leave on Sunday night will be happy, able to do that. I'm staying until Monday morning because that's when my flight leaves, and I don't want to be, I wasn't trying to do a quick flight and be back in the early morning hours. We're just going to leave on Monday morning. So perfection. If you're able to jump in. All right. This is called Not a Drinker Friday Night Lights. For anybody that is following along in the book, and you can find my book on Amazon. You can find this book on Amazon. It's self-published. I found some mistakes and things I need to correct, and I've just marked up my whole book. So if I do this again, which I will be doing it again with Titus 2 Ladies, I'll have to get another book. And I was thinking I needed to take some books over to the retreat as well, but I don't know if I want to be carrying all of that. I'm going to do I'm a check a bag, so maybe I'll have room to check. I don't know. We'll see. Self-promotion makes me, yeah. Anywho, if I were to ask you, what does Friday Night Lights mean to you? If you heard the word Friday Night Lights, what would you assume was meant by that? So if you would type it in the comments, if I were to ask you Friday Night Lights, what would you associate with that particular statement? And just let me know there in the comments what you think. I'm going to read out a couple of those just to see if you get it right. Very good. I know that I have not gotten as many as 2 liters a day. I can do better for sure. And I don't mind drinking water. If I drink coffee, I'm happy. It didn't even cross my mind. It very well could be dehydration. And I didn't even think about that, because dehydration makes you feel bad. Okay, football. I see high school football, quite a lot of high school football. Very good, very good. But we're going to jump in, and I'm just going to go through this section. Page 1, I see high school football game. Very good. In due season. Thank you so much for chiming in. Somebody told me the other day nobody watches the lives as they were watching it to tell me that. I was like, okay, great. Thank you. I'm so glad. Okay. Most people think I don't drink because I'm a Christian. Most people who know me think that I don't drink. The reason is because I'm a Christian. Hanging out with friends. I like that one. Now, let me be very clear. I have to be very clear, because I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression of me or the wrong, feel like I'm misrepresenting the Lord. My love for the Lord does not allow me to partake in alcohol. I do not partake in alcohol. I've never been drunk a day in my life. I've never been high. I've never been in somebody's bed I shouldn't have been in. I've never done any of those things. I have an issue, actually, because sometimes people drink and become inebriated, and before you know it, they don't know where they are or their clothes. And I just have issues with that. I need to know where my stuff is at all the time. So I have refrained from partaking of adult beverages. Movie night, movies with friends, I like that. Friday night is all about the things. And to be very honest, I've never done any of those things. I just wasn't allowed. My grandparents didn't allow it, and we didn't do it. I think I might have been to 1 or 2 ball games ever in my whole high school career. And when I was in college, I never went to one party. People say, oh, you went to the party school. Every school's a party school if you go there to party. 1 second, please. I need to yell at one of my children because the dog is eating things. Jack. No. Come, Gwen. Come, Gwen. Jackson. I'm sorry, she has something in her mouth and I can't get to her. Jack. Come. Come. Let me see. Jackson. Why is it nobody wants to listen to me right now? Okay. I'm going to yell again in a minute when I think. Come, Gwen. This is like children. This is why I'm so very thankful that my children are grown, because she is bothering me. Jack. And now I'm yelling and it's making my head hurt. She did. And I think she's eating my earbud. And it's already one of the things is broke. And now she probably done ate the other half. And now I got to get a new one. Mother's Day coming up. And I really wasn't trying to spend no money. Brenda Ann, stay right there. Okay. So anyway, again, let me be very clear. I need nothing other than himself to make me feel a certain type of way. You know, most people use alcohol as a crutch. They need to feel away. They need to escape from life. They need to just get lost in whatever, not realizing that the next day or days, there would be a consequence of the previous behavior. And I think she's still not a year old yet. So she is definitely chomping on things. Lots of things in this house. She ate my watch the other day. I'm like, Lord have mercy. Poor child. Poor me, because my watch, I need that. I don't need anything other than Jesus to make me feel a certain type of way. It's my choice of things. If I have to pick anything, I'm picking him. I get lost in the Lord, not in alcohol. Lost means unable to find one's way, not knowing one's whereabouts. I can get totally lost in the Lord. It's one of those things where people say a man's going to have to find Jesus to find you, because that's where you at all the time. That is truly, I get energized. I'm excited about it. I love to be in the presence of God, whether I have a outward emotion or not. Like I could just sit in this chair for hours and hours, me and Jesus, and be together, and I am perfectly okay, perfectly fine. I've not read in the word, though, that drinking is wrong. Not anything I've read. Do your own research and manage your own convictions. Here is, thank you so much. I can't tell you what to do. You got to determine for you what you believe, what you're convicted about. For me, I don't need to drink. Me and the Lord, we go to places. I'm here for Jesus. So that's just how I have to do me. Ephesians 5:18 in the NLT says, don't be drunk with wine. It says don't be drunk. It doesn't say don't drink, right? You can feel that, right? You will be with Jesus. Yes. We together. Me and him, we gonna be together. Because that will ruin your life. Instead, be filled with the Holy Spirit. So I mean, I don't know. You'd have to come really to a church, a Sunday morning experience with me to really understand just how much I love the Lord. I can be in a room full of people and totally forget they're there, because I am so enamored, in awe, in just total reverence of the Lord. Like I'm with God all the time. And he has my heart, right? He has my eye. It's like when you meet that fine man or that fine woman and like you don't got eyes for nobody else. It's kind of like how I feel about the Lord. Like me and Jesus, we locked in. I mean, we locked in. Okay. You need to get locked in with somebody, but I'm locked in with the Lord. Locked in with the Lord. I'm gonna get a t-shirt. It says locked in with the Lord. Anybody want to do a t-shirt for me? Go on, do it. Go on, do it. Let the Lord use you. Okay. So several years ago, I was at dinner with several ladies. As I picked up the menu and excitedly began to make choices, I realized that everyone else was awkwardly silent and a bit over anxious. Now, see, you have to understand, one of the things that I'm big on is influence. Influence is huge, and you don't know necessarily all the time what influence you have on people. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. But these particular individuals that I was with, I think, held me in a certain esteem, if that makes any sense. And so when right, for medicinal purposes, right? For medicinal purposes. But I think they held me in a little bit of an esteem. And so they, were kind of a little awkwardness. I got the menu, I'm flipping through, I'm trying to see what the appetizers are. I'm like, okay, I never think about beverages when I go out to eat, because I'm always usually going to get water. Water is just like my beverage of choice. It's $4 less than everything else on the menu. So I typically just get water. But again, I was with some other people, and again, they were awkwardly silent and a bit over anxious. Calmly, I put my menu down and I said, "Don't worry, lovelies, dinner is on me," thinking they were like, "Oh my God, these prices are so high, and who's going to pay for this meal?" I've been young before. I've been a single mom struggling, trying to figure out what on this menu I can afford. Perhaps a salad. Let me get an appetizer and just bring it out with the meal, because I just eat when everybody else eat, but it was $10 to $12 cheaper than everything else on the menu. So I worked all those, scenarios out of my head, thinking, okay, perfect. This is just where people are. No worries. I said, hey, don't worry. I got the dinner. It's no problem. Okay. Dinner on Shakima, no problem. Because the Lord had blessed me at that time and I was able to pay for their meal. I always try to keep a few dollars in my purse where I could at least pick up somebody's meal. I may not be able to get the whole table. One day I will, but I always try to, read the room or read the table and see what's happening. If it's the birthday girl, I try to get the birthday girl or whatever the case is, but I never try to leave people out there without options, right? So I failed to notice the waitress was waiting to take our drink order. Bingo. I was out of town in the evening with a group of lady friends, and it never crossed my mind that they would enjoy an adult beverage. It just, because it never crosses my mind to order one, but when you with people have to always, people should be comfortable being themselves around you. And if they're not comfortable being themselves around you, you have to wonder why that is. Not very long ago, we were out having dinner for my grandmother's 82nd birthday, and we were at a hibachi restaurant. And I was there, my dad was there, who's the apostle and the bishop, and then my stepmom was there, who's the prophetess. So you got the apostle, bishop, the prophetess, and you got the pastor. So we all there, and everybody is trying to not sit at our table, and we're like, no, there's plenty of room. And then I'm like, well, what happened? Did we do something? Did we offend people? We just got here. We didn't say nothing. We didn't even pray. Nothing. What did we do? And someone came over to me and said, no, they don't want to offend anybody. They want to order adult beverage. And we're like, oh, well, I mean, everybody paying for their own meal. Like, do what you want to do. But I understand, because they were reverencing those of us who are in the ministry, although we were not at a ministry event. This was just a birthday celebration. Do what you want to do. I'm the person who has to stand before the Lord, but I appreciate now, looking back on it. No, ma'am. Jackson. Sorry, y'all. I feel real ghetto. Shalay, are you still on here? Shalay, if you here, can you text one of my children to come get this dog? Jack! One of y'all come and get the dog. Because Brenda Ann done ate my earbud. I'm about to put her out. Give me that thing and see if she ate it. Lord, why? Oh, mama don't do none of this. Mama don't eat stuff. Look in the bathroom. I think it's some extra ones in there. Here, take it. She don't eat nothing. She don't put nothing in her mouth she ain't supposed to. Ooh, I'm about to put her out the house. Okay. So anyway, to cut the thick tension, I stated to them and the waitress, just so everybody was on the same page, I'm picking up the meal. Your beverages are on you. And just like that, that whole tense moment had broken, right? Just like that, the conversation opened up. We went back and started to talk about, because she be doing stuff. Mama is under the bed minding her business. She just sleep. She just drooling probably. She ain't bothering nobody. And this little one, and we went back to talking about whatever it was we were talking about. It was like a movie. It really was, y'all. It was like a movie where time freezes. Then all of a sudden time releases itself and the whole world begins again, right? Because that tension was so thick, you could just like slice it and slice it. And I'm like, dang. I'm keenly aware that most people look at me as if I have two heads on this one body. People do. They really do look at me strange. And I wonder why that is. Like I said, people say you're an anomaly, Shakima. People don't do what you do. Or why do you do what you do? People really don't understand who I am and what I do, why I do it. Jackson, he came all the way in here to leave the dog. Mildred Ann, take her. Goodbye. The end. Take her. Goodbye. Very good. He came all the way in here just to leave the dog. Praying for him in Jesus' name. I need some saints. Y'all ain't living right because he ain't done what I wanted them to do. And they really do look at me strange. And I wonder, I'm like, God, am I really strange? Like, do we not expect people in my position to not drink? I actually was following this pastor, and I didn't realize that he was an alcoholic until he came out and said, I'm a recovering alcoholic, preaching, pastoring, doing all the things. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. No judgment. I just didn't know that it was a thing. Like, I don't know. It gotta be, girl. I didn't know that there were pastors sleeping around. I just thought when you get called to this calling, that all the things that you might have wanted to do before and still might want to do, because some of us been over here holding on for yet a long time. I just thought because you love God, maybe my thought was wrong. And I'm not putting my thoughts off on my convictions off on anybody else. I'm just saying I didn't know that people was out here doing the things, but they doing things, but I'm not. So I think when people see me, they're like, what is wrong with her? Why isn't she like this person or that person? Because it never crossed my mind to do some of the things that people do. I just don't think about it. Holding a title in the church somehow keeps people from remembering that you are just a normal everyday person, although called to a higher purpose than maybe they are, right? I'm normal. I could do all the things if I want to do the things, but I choose not to do the things. The reason I don't do certain things is because of my conviction. It's because I just believe that when I stand before the Lord, I'm going to have to give an account to Jesus about what I did. Now, again, that doesn't absolve me. If I gossip, it's the same as sleeping around. If I sleep around, it's the same as overeating. If I overeat, it's the same as being drunk. I mean, all the things that I know I'm not supposed to do. So there is no big little sin is sin. It's all the same. But we make the, sexual sin is the biggest thing ever. And you can still gossip about everybody. That's wrong too. I'm not going to be in your little groups. I'm not going to be in your group chats. There are very few group chats that I'm in because they go left all the time. And the Lord told me, do not be in them group chats. So if you invite me into your group chat and I exit stage left, it's because somebody has went to the other side and I cannot do it. It's just not for me, right? But I'm human and I have the potential to do anything that I'm grown enough and want to do. But I don't do certain things. See, my friends never say that. They don't. But they look at me or they leave me to go somewhere else. I'm like, Jesus hung out with the drunkards. I mean, what is it going to be? I'll be the DD. I'm not going intentionally out with you for that because I'll be in the bed by 9. I mean, I'm making an exception with these nightly meetings because I was like, maybe I could do it at 8, but I can't do it at 8 because I got several nights a week I'm out for different things, but I'm in the bed. Or, in fact, it could just be a different call, right? But I am very human, and I do understand the need until you find or have a need for Jesus. Let me say this. Until people recognize their need for a savior, they're never going to turn to the savior. And so I don't approach people like they're like me. I approach people like I'm like me. I approach people like I'm me, Shakima, the whole every time. Now, I'm not going to push down your throat my belief system. I'm not going to push down your throat. You shoulda, coulda, woulda, and then you okay. People who are doing wrong already know. They don't need you to continue to tell them. They don't need you to live with your nose so far up in the air that you forgot you was doing the same thing before you came to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ either. So I'm trying to tell you that I live a mind your own business life. That's how I do it. Mind your own business until if the Lord tells me to say something, I'll say something. But for the most part, but I find that a lot of people don't want to hang out with me. They don't want to hang out with me because my life is very different, and I'm okay with that. I don't want special treatment from anyone when we are together. I'm not judging anyone for your choices that you make, or you will make in the future. The only choice I'm responsible for making are mine. These are my choices because I'm gonna have to give an account for every choice. What I have to tell my older children now that they are older and really knee deep in they are adulting. They out here, life is life, and they having to adult right along with it. I say it doesn't matter to me what choice you make because you're the one who has to live with the consequences of those choices. But remember, there will be consequences for those choices. So do what you do, but just remember, whatever you do, there is going to be a consequence. And that is how you have to live your life. When I think about, should I spend this money? Well, I had did a debit the other day for something. I don't remember what it was. It was something I needed. And it came to my mind, to my remembrance, Shakima, if you pay for that, you're going to overdraw your account. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not. The devil's a lie. So do I want to buy this thing and overdraw my account and pay for the overdraft fee later? Or do I come to my first mind which says you can get it later when payday comes? Please, please, please do not overdraw this account because we have lived a long time where the funds have been sufficient. We don't need to be in the insufficient funds. We have long left that a long time ago. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have money in other places. I just want to keep the money in the places that they're in. And I have to learn how to deal with my spending habits because I have money that I have savings. I could have moved over a few dollars, but I don't want to keep moving stuff. I want to deal with my spending habits. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay. Whatever choice you make or decision you make is your decision. I do use my life experience to prayerfully influence someone to make a different choice. I'm going to live this way. You can watch the way I live and you can choose different because this is what different looks like. You know what you look like making the choice you make. This is what the different choice looks like. So now you have another choice to make. Do what I normally do or do what she doing because that look like it's going to work. It's up to you. You get a choice. But no worries about judgment. What you do, as long as it doesn't negatively affect Shakima, is between you and Jesus. You're the one. Right. I don't want to have to pull it from here to try to pay it over there when I know, period, I'm going to get paid in the next few days. Just leave it alone till payday comes. And when payday comes, you can, allocate those funds whichever way you need to. And Jesus still going to be glorified and all going to be well. Our food and drink orders were placed. Water for me, of course. But then I begin to explain why I don't drink. This is why I don't participate in these particular types of activities. And there's a reason. Friday Night Lights, which we saw, most of you were like football and movie night and girlfriends get together and hanging out with your friends and cruising the strip and hanging out in the Roses parking lot or whatever it is that you did when you was, when Friday nights was a thing for you. have so much more meaning depending on where you're from. Friday nights are nights for the whole town to come out and watch hometown heroes take yards and points from the opposing team. If you're into ball games, Texas is a big ball game. Friday Night Lights, they have a whole series on like investigation discovery called Friday Night Lights, because things shut down. People are at the ball game. Even here, I'm from a very small rural community, but people love their football, their basketball. They out here for it. I could care less about it, but hey, that's what they do. Sometimes the celebration started off in the parking lot with lowered tailgates and food. Hey, we're going to meet here early. Let's tailgate. Let's do some food. And then we're going to go into the game, or I got season tickets. We're going to the skybox, or whatever the case is. Not so at my house. Friday Night Lights actually started on Thursday night in anticipation of Friday's payday. On Thursday, there may have been a 6-pack, but by Friday, there was sure to be a 12 to 24-pack that anybody that was old enough and paid enough to drink. If I got money, if I worked all week, I'm getting a 12-pack, I'm getting a 24 case, or whatever you call it. And I'm about to sit here and I'm about to be right. I'm going to drown all my weekly sorrows. I'm going to spend money that I don't have, that I need to allocate for a bill, to just lament about the fact that I don't have enough money to pay for the bills, right? And I'm just going to drown my sorrows in this 24 cases of Miller Lite or Coors Light or whatever kind of light it is you want. Heinekens, upper cans, downer cans, whatever cans they got. At the first pop top sound, all you could hope for, because no one knew Jesus back then or was praying, all you could hope for was that everyone would be so drunk that they fell asleep before the first insult or dinner dish was thrown. You just hoped everybody just went to bed. Like it would be some magicness. Popped. Whoo, you like, Lord, that was the first one. That was the second one. That was the third one, Lord Jesus. And then you start hearing the voices get louder and stuff start moving. And folks start, first we sitting down and we just kind of having our beverage. The next thing you know, people is moving around. And now they're getting closer to each other. And you like, oh, Lord, what is getting about to happen up in here? Because it's about to pop off. Oh, it's getting ready to pop off. Just as sure as I'm sitting here talking to you, something is getting ready to go down. Most nights never played out like this. While in a football game, trash talking took place in the locker room with little thought to any follow through on any of those insults. Yeah, we're going to take your team down. We're going to do this. Yeah, you don't want to mess with the Tigers because we the Tigers and y'all the Bulldogs and, all of that. Oh, baby. Okay, at my house. The first amount of trash talk was sure to end with glass shattered all over the house. Somebody was getting sliced and somebody was going to be laid out, period. And I was usually on the cleanup crew, me and some other people. It wasn't just me back then. It was me and some other people. All of my life, I got to see firsthand what adult beverages could do and the destruction it left behind. Even while cleaning, I still loved those destruction makers, but I knew I never wanted to behave like them. I never wanted to be that person. I never wanted to put my children in that situation, but I knew that I was predisposed to that because that's how I grew up. Friday Night Lights, it wasn't a ball game. This was all the action that was taking place in your living room. And my grandmother, here I am predisposed. You got to understand how I grew up, the way I'm used to it. My grandmother was violent. She was 4'11", 100 pounds soaking wet. Violent. And she could drink a drunk under the table. My mother was a violent drunk. Period. That was just, they was ready to fight, period. And I thought in my mind, because this was pre-Jesus for me, I was like, if my grandmother's like this, my grandfather, quiet. He could drink a whole case and go to sleep. Bother a soul, just minding his own business, just sitting in his little chair, just minding his own business. Now my grandmother, my mother. And I knew that if they were like that, it had to be the same for me because I was cut from this same cloth. So if I even decided to partake of one time, and I started over and over and over and over and over, I already knew I was going to be the same. I already knew I was going to be causing all kinds of problems everywhere I went. I already knew my children would become the cleanup crew. Not just the glass, but cleaning up when you lose your bowels because you ain't thinking about going to the bathroom. When you're throwing up, somebody said throwing up. When you're sick, can't make it to the toilet. I knew my kids were going to have to be my cleanup crew, and I couldn't put my children through that. It was just something that I was not willing to do because I had seen that growing up. It has zero to do with the fact that I love the Lord. At this point, it's because I love the Lord. But back then, when I was making that decision, it was based on my past experience, on how I grew up as a young child. I knew that if the moment a strong drink touched my lips, I would be done. That was it. It was over. The moment I got a taste for it, And see, when we were young, right? My grandmother, you would get a little bit on the rim of the can. Every one of her grandbabies knew what it tastes like. We would just because that's what you did. Just get a little taste. Just get a little. How are you starting the babies out on a little taste? What is happening right now? What is this? But when it's what you know, that's what you keep doing, right? In order for my children not to be my cleanup crew, I made an adult decision on one of those Friday nights when I was a child not to participate in drinking alcohol. Now, some people watching this may drink alcohol right now. And maybe you've had this same experience. All our furniture would get messed up. My grandmother would drag the furniture outside, put it on the burn pile, and burn it up. Then we wouldn't have any furniture to sit on. It was crazy. And then on Sunday night, when you're drinking it, sleeping it off so that you can be functional for Monday morning, you're thinking, well, darn, where did all the furniture go? You forgot what happened? You forgot? We can tell you. We know, we remember. Don't I want to say I made that decision because I love the Lord? Nope. Sadly, my friends, that would be a deception on my part. I can't allow you to think that I'm above anything or anybody because I can't say that I knew the Lord back then. Not like I know him now. He was always with me. I believe that, but I didn't know him in the I know Jesus sense of anything. So I can't tell you to sound like I'm all super spiritual and always been saved my whole life. Yeah, because I knew the Lord. I just decided I was never going to drink. No. I can't tell you that. I could have then and still can now make a decision to drink. You would never know if I get off this. You don't know what's in this cup. Child, do you know? You don't have a clue. Oh, Shakima just love drinking coffee. I sure do. Right? You don't know. You have to take my word for it. But I have to, again, stand before the Lord, and I have to stand before you blameless to say, hey, that's coffee for sure. At this late hour, it's still coffee. Yes, it is. And I need a fresh cup right now, but I don't want to call the kids again because I already done yelled on here 3 times, and I'm not going to yell again. But my children are too important to me for me to turn them into my cleanup crew. For those of you who still indulge, you imbibe, you do whatever it is you do, you get down, however you term it. My mother used to get down, whatever you term it. If you have children, think about your cleanup crew. Who's cleaning up after you? Who has to pick up the pieces when you're broken? Right? Tonight is about you thinking about your past experience, not to keep you back in the past, but what decision did I make? Because I will tell you that there are a lot of people in my family that chose to drink, and it hasn't done them well. It has done nothing well for them. I look at some of them and my heart hurts because I know in their heart of hearts, they don't want to drink. It's just what they know. But I've decided to know Jesus in the place of the drink. He's a stronger drink than any drink. He told the lady at the lady at the well, she was like, he said, give me some water. She said, you don't want any water from me. We ain't even the same. Why are you even asking me? If you knew who I was, you wouldn't ask me. He said, but if you knew who I was, you would ask me, because I could give you a drink that would, calm your thirst forever. You'll never be thirsty again. So I choose to partake of the person or the one who gives me drink that satisfies my thirst forever and ever. Those who thirst and hunger after righteousness shall be filled. I choose that. Because what I understand, when you chase after your addiction, you got to go back over and over and over and over and over, trying to chase the same high. I'm trying to chase this same thing to get that first feeling I ever felt. When I go with the Lord, I feel the same way I felt every single time. It get better and better. I'll be going back because I'm like, Lord, if it was this good last time, what is it going to be like the next time? I mean, honestly, I know some people at church be like, what is wrong with her again? She out there again. She done fell out again. Lord, she crying again. Yes, because he gets better over and over and over. Every time I go and approach him, every time I try to take a drink and I can just drink my fill, it gets better. Way more than anything that I could buy from the store or whatever else. Y'all, do you know I won't even go? I want to make homemade vanilla. In order to make homemade vanilla, I have to have a certain type of alcoholic beverage. And because I cannot bring myself to go to the store to purchase said beverage, I have not made homemade vanilla. Now, I know I am not going to drink the beverage. I'm using it for the recipe. I need about 30 Madagascar vanilla bean pods. I'm going to split them down the middle. I'm going to put them in a gallon of spiced rum and let it sit for 6 months. But I can't even take myself to the store to even purchase it. I can't do it. I cannot do it. My sister's like, you stupid. You could go to Walmart. I was like, because I can't go in the ABC store. I mean, when I was moving, trying to get boxes, I struggled trying to go get moving boxes. I can't do it because I remember what it was like growing up. And my children have never seen a beverage in their refrigerator. They've never seen a beverage in a cooler. They've never seen a red Solo cup. They only when we've had things up in here for party, Friendsgiving or whatever. They don't know the meaning of the red Solo cup. They've never. And I don't want them to. So that's why I made that decision for me. The work God has given me to do on this earth is too important for me to throw away my witness because someone watching my life may not understand my freedom in Jesus to make my own decision. Again, I'm free in Jesus. Yolanda put in there that Paul told Timothy to drink for his medicinal, right? For you got a little touch of the stomach, just a little something. And now they'll even tell you a glass of red wine a day helps women with heart disease, and red wine and chocolate, I think, helps with your heart disease. I'm going to have Jesus help me with my heart. Stop eating the bad stuff, exercise, move around, drink your water, all the things. Very good. But if you have a little bit of red wine for your heart disease, that's fine. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. Thank you so much. I appreciate. I'm telling you what I'm doing because it's my conviction to do so. But if I came up in here and I had my little champagne glass and I just kept throwing back the bubbly, y'all be looking at me like, who is this woman and why is she on here? And I'm not finna follow her. Y'all know that little man that be cooking in his kitchen and he started drinking a little bit too much. And next thing you know, he was just all toe up on the thing. I was like, Lord Jesus, I was here for the cooking. Before I knew it, he was slurring his words and all this other stuff. I can't afford to lose my witness over my freedom in Jesus. So I don't do it. I don't do it for me, but I don't do it for you. I don't do it for them. I don't do it because I love him. I made a purposeful choice in my life. Have you made a purposeful choice? But Shakima, I needed to function. My grandmother needed it to function. But one Mother's Day, we went to church. I think it was Mother's Day 1992. If I'm mistaken, somebody will tell me if I'm wrong. Well, I know somebody will. We went to church on a Mother's Day. My grandmother had drank 60 years. probably 60 years. She drank starting probably by the time she was 14, 13, maybe even earlier than that. 60 years she drank. She went to church one Mother's Day because it was the only day we went. Only Sunday we went. And they got to praying for her. And I remember her like it was yesterday. She was crawling around on the floor. Crawling around on the floor. And she started to vomit up. And they were praying. This is when people believed in tarrying. This is when people believed in we staying here till something really happened. We ain't getting out in 20 minutes. You need a 30-minute sermon. You at the wrong church, honey. We was at Little Grove. That was the name of the church, Little Grove. Little Grove Church. Probably got some more names behind that because there's a lot. And we stayed there and stayed. And I'm a young girl back then. I didn't know a whole lot. I knew the Lord, but I hadn't made a decision yet. But I knew the Lord. And child, can I tell you, when my grandmother got up off that floor, she didn't touch another drop. She came out, I just can't let it go. Yes, you can. Maybe not on your own. But David said, I cried out to the Lord and he heard me. What's the difference between you and David? You under the better covenant. Right now, you have access to Jesus. David didn't have any access to that covenant. You do. David is the type and shadow of Christ. You got Christ. I cried out to the Lord, and he heard me. Just as much as he heard my grandmother, he can hear you. Just as much as he heard me and say, Lord, I just don't desire to do this. And he has kept it out. I've never had a taste for it in my whole life. Never. I've never had a taste for anything strong. Nothing. I don't even deal, when you go to a place and you have a, what do they call it now? A virgin daiquiri, or what's some other things they call them? It ain't, it's like the non-alcoholic version of the whatever it is that people be having. Like, I don't have that. Just give me some water. Or if I'm feeling adventurous, I'll take a soda. Thank you. Normally when I go out places, I just want a cup of coffee. Give me decaf. I'm great. So, it's the decision that you make. I made that purposeful choice in my life. It was mine to make, and I'm thankful that I made it. It's blessed me. Fast forward back to dinner with those ladies. At the conclusion of me telling them the Cliff Notes version of the reason I don't partake in beverages, instantly there was a perceived understanding of my decision. I say perceived because I hope, mocktail, that's it. Thank you, ma'am. I hope they understood why. But if they didn't, I know why. And if we were to go out again and the Lord tells me to pay for their meals, I would do the same thing. If they choose a beverage, I got the meal. Whatever you do outside of that is on you. I'm not paying for that because I'm not paying for me to have that. They could see very clearly through that situation in those moments. They could see how one decision can make or break your life. Can you see how one decision can make or break your life? It's one thing. Well, I don't love him anymore, so I'm going to leave. Okay, you leave. The next thing you know, your best friend is living in your house now, and they are all happy. Well, she was my best friend. How's she going to go with my husband? You decided to leave. He was free for the picking. Well, these kids are too much and I just don't want to be with this woman no more, so I'm leaving. Fine. She got another man, met him online. He believed in taking care of his household, your wife and your kids. You slide by every third week trying to see if she pining away for you. That woman has moved on with her life. Now you are living a life you never thought you would live because you made one decision. It's always one decision. It's one decision. Shakima, should I, does my life change instantly when I serve the Lord, when I choose God? Yes, it does. But it may take a minute for you to see the full manifestation of the change. Everything about you changes. According to 2 Corinthians 5:17, when you accept the Lord, you become a new creature. Old things have passed away, and behold, all things have become new. However, your mindset still be old sometimes. So you got to renew your mind. You got to take that thought captive that says you need to go out here and get you a beverage. Oh, not today. I will not do that today. You need to go call so-and-so because you got needs and he be right open. Not today. Nope, not today. It's one choice, one decision, period. One. They could see a changed life in one decision. And I'm very glad that they never had to see any of my, family, because I grew up as an only child. I'm glad none of my siblings or friends or anything like that, had to be witnesses to those types of things. I didn't even want to be witnesses to that, but it is what it was. And so I had to live in that place, and all is well now. Did my decision change theirs that night? Nope, they did not. They paid their drink bill and I paid for the meals. Did my story give them cause to not be too quick to judge the choices and decisions of others? I certainly hope so. Because they were thinking I was Christian and didn't drink. Not that I grew up in so much turmoil and Friday night lights that's why I didn't drink. Because I love God now, that's why I don't drink. But back then, I could have made that choice. So I pray that what I've shared with you tonight gives you pause to think about the decisions that you make. And it could be any decision. This was just because I was in that situation. This can be anything: poor spending, fooling around, promiscuity, beverages, addictions, all those types of things, pills, but whatever it is, whatever is your addiction of choice. Men can be addiction of choice. Women can be an addiction of choice. It is an addiction of choice. I just choose to be addicted to Jesus. There's no side effects. There's no hangovers. I ain't got to pay nobody just to try to get me the next, I just go to him. I go directly to the source and get my next infilling and uplifting, and I feel great. And I go back as many times. I don't run up no tab. It's all good. So before I leave you tonight, again, I hope that it makes you think about the things that are happening in your life and why you do the things you're doing in your life. If they're beneficial, keep doing them. But if they are not, if they are self-destructive, if they are destructive to your future, if they're destructive to the people that live in your house, then you may need to make a different choice. And be honest with yourself. Some of us know the Lord and we're still doing stuff we shouldn't do. I'm including me because I'm sure I've done something I shouldn't have done. Right? I don't want nobody to think that I'm, Shakima perfect. No, I'm not. But should I be doing this? Is this the right thing for me to do? So every night, like I do always, I'll ask you, do you know him? You get to make that choice, whether you know him. You can know him right now in this moment. There is no special prayer you have to pray. I can lead you in a prayer, but it's always better when it's you and him. Lord, I recognize that I need you in my life. Please come into my life and do something different. I don't want to live like this. I don't want to do these things. I don't want to have beverages. I don't want to cheat on my spouse. I don't want to be mean to my kids. I just want to be with you. I need you to come in and clean me up. Just like the woman at the well. If you knew who I was, Lord, you wouldn't even want me. And the response would be the same as it was to her. I already know who you are, and I still want you. I already know what you did, and I still want you. I already know where you've been, and I still want you. Them 5 husbands you had, I know about them, and the one you got now, I know about him, and I still want you. He wants us. So it is just that simple to get him. If you don't know him, you can. No matter what your past or present circumstance, he wants to know you. No judgment, no strings. At least none that he has for you. There are no strings attached to knowing Jesus. There it is, you guys. Please remember to like the video, thumb it up, share it with someone if you feel like it's shareable. We would appreciate that. Tomorrow night, join me here, day 38. We're talking about Philippians 1:6. Philippians 1:6. That's day 38. We will see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go take something for my head and lay it down. Love you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye now.